So I'm gonna just start off where Malcolm left off. This is not a threat, not a way to say we plan on blood. No one ever plans on blood, yet blood comes. And when blood comes, blood moves hard. You know how sometimes the clouds pass over a full moon and it looks like the moon is moving real fast? Like that, that's how blood moves. And suddenly, full, this is no threat, this is a love trumpet. You have created infinite blackness which now you have no idea how to contain. You, one drop defined whiteness, purity, and now we have niggas who look like you among you. Isn't that amazing? How solidarity gets made, how niggas find other niggas to get up with. In South Africa, there are gangs of black boys who umbrella themselves under two major banners, the Biggies and the Tupacs. We have niggas there, halfway around the globe, ready to ride right now. You don't really want us calling on those armies, do you, Mr. Limbaugh, Miss Palin, all you bankers who took the money and booked? In Jamaica, there are gangs of black boys who umbrella themselves under two major banners, Gully and Gaza. You see what I'm getting at, don't you, Mr. Santorum? Arizona, Governor of Wisconsin, niggas know the connection amongst niggas. We aren't sitting around smoking crack and drinking malt liquor. We know the connection between Alabama's immigration laws and NBA owners' attempts to sucker punch the players. That's a lot of niggas. Just waiting. I'm telling you this, Miss Bachman, Mr. Gingrich, because I love you. And it appears neither of us is going anywhere. All you jail builders and school closers, there are niggas in Hiroshima, Palestine, and Des Moines just waiting for the call. There are church niggas and transgender niggas in the cut pretending to not pass notes. Mr. Pfizer, Mr. Monsanto, we see a clear through line from Emmett Till to Trayvon Martin, and we've been memorizing the names of every nigga you killed, whose names you kept out the papers. We're here. We know what's up, and we've been memorizing the sound of whistling in shell casings. Take heed, not with guns, look for once at yourself. Imagine today what the fuck you look like in all your Columbus Day whiteness. We are invisible, but we see. We are infinite. Niggas are indeed in Paris, Mumbai, and we are not just making rap videos, and we ain't whistling Dixie. We bridge builders over the world's most troubled waters, and our tools and numbers are endless, and we gather at your skin like blood. We locusts, we gather, we love, and we have begun to move. Consider Harriet Tubman, Nat Turner, Denmark Vesey, Marcus Garvey, Shirley Chisholm, and Malcolm X as prophecy. It is possible still. Pope Benedict, George Zimmerman, Bush American Dynasty, to save yourselves simply by learning how to act right in company, by reading Baldwin and Hooks, Ralph Ellison and Audre Lorde, by listening to Donny Hathaway and boys beating buckets in the subway. We have things to say. We are worth your time. We love you. Lean in. This could save your life. Live from Bedford-Stuyvesant, the livest one, representing BK to the fullest. The night Biggie died, I, 28, dreadlocked, taut, on fire, 175 pounds, I fast and angry and in love, cruising Wiltshire, kissing a woman and then another. Her tongue was incandescent and Biggie was notorious. I squared off with some biggies who shot cheer, blared out the speakers. Baggy blue jeans and tongue-loose boots, I barked. I threw my hips into a deep far corner of the bass groove. I buried $20 in the juke. Biggie nodded to the beat on Wiltshire. Puff was at the wheel. Suge Knight in jail, my tongue in the mouth of a woman. Clinton was President. George W. Bush coked up. Biggie promenaded Wiltshire. My torso a roll of wire. My fists stones. The night Biggie died, I rode the backseat between two women. I groped their thighs. They were leaning over the edge of my cavernous need. Their bodies taut lassos, their nipples hard as ammunition. The radio crackled. We left the bar. The backseat stank sweat as Biggie Royal waved down Wiltshire. I lied to get both women into my dorm. I pretended they both had my whole story. I loved them dearly. I hadn't learned how to say no. The night shots squealed on Wiltshire. Earlier, we'd stopped to eat. I blessed my food. Black olive omelette, made the sign of the cross. Wherever we live, God is. Biggie being rushed to hospital. Wherever we fight, God is. Who knows the science of the head nod like a bullet in weight? Biggie, a black sieve. The light of God moves through us. My tongue in the mouth of a woman. Wherever we die, God returns Biggie and a choir of sirens on his way. The love of God enraptures. She squeezed me frantic under the table. Biggie's farewell, the Brooklyn illest, unbelievable. The power of God protects us. We made a raucous hosanna of our bodies that night. We sat in the car stunned when we heard the news. We didn't know if to cry. Biggie shot in Los Angeles. I made a grave of a woman. New York held us all in our public weeping. Our eyes leaked blood. Our son Biggie dying on the streets of Los Angeles. I dying in the bed of a woman, or she dying in mine. Love went to war in both our hearts. This is the music I became a man for. This is the second line funeral I danced to. As Biggie lay, I born of the juke. I love it when they call me Big Papa. You should have heard the woman moan for Biggie that night. You should have heard the ropes rough ripping as we lowered our caskets into graves. Mostly, when I moved to Chicago in '09, I was only supposed to be here for a year. And so, I figured I was going to come do my year and beat it. You don't expect, after you cross the age of 40, to find, great new revelations about a whole bunch of shit. But like, there was revelation was day one. Like, people was like, yo, you're black, you can't have your hat cocked to the side in Chicago. Like, what? You mean like you can't have that shit fly? Mostly, when I moved to Chicago in '09, I was only supposed to be here for a year. And so, I figured I was going to come do my year and beat it. You don't expect, after you cross the age of 40, to find, great new revelations about a whole bunch of shit. But there was revelation was day one. Like, people was like, yo, you're black, you can't have your hat cocked to the side in Chicago. Like, what? You mean like you can't have that shit fly? So, hence the title poem, In Case You Wake Up in the Morning and You're Not in Brooklyn. You live in Chicago, so you unfurl your creaking body, brew coffee the consistency of crushed coal, and slip into the first of several layers you will need against the Lake Michigan wind. You live in Chicago and you're getting on the train. You live in Chicago and you're going south side. You live in Chicago, so you turn your fitted dead straight to no smooth tilt to the front type. You make sure you're not mistook for set claiming. You stay the safe kind of black. You stay scowl-worthy. Your grill mean. You'd better pray your body to the base and your fat headphones black, because you're going south side and everything here is black, and there is no time for tender or to worry about the young boy with a GD tattoo on his neck across from you. No time to think he could be your son and you love this boy and you want to ask him why he isn't in school and if he's eaten, but you can't do this because he might already be plotting to gank you. And you'd better make him believe you're either too OG or too not give a fuck for that to be a good idea. Still, you up nod, stern stare every brother whose eyes challenge yours. Your hat's still straight as fuck black though, because you haven't moved so far from your mother's or grandmother's need to keep you on a straight path. And you're 6. And you get a beating for not saying good day to grown folks on the street, for being rude, because black and rude is throwback to black and dead. And you're 40. You drink after long days of teaching in the jail or Englewood, or for the smug-faced white fucking suburban Nutria motherfuckers whose earnest, ruddy cheeks you also love. But you're black and Southside, and your brim straight and strong as that coffee you made this morning. You love women who are white and the black and brown, and you are scared all the time, so scared you memorize 6 ways to throw the first punch. Now you're a Brooklyn boy. You've learned a swag for a different time there. You are Dap in Bedford-Stuyvesant black. You are Fulton Street barbershop black. Malcolm X and Biggie Smalls out either side of your mouth black, but now you are in Chicago. You keep your fitted straight, narrow black. You're not going to die today. You promised this, and that too is black. The promise, I mean, the one you might not be able to keep because your body isn't really your own black, so you walk the streets on ever ready. You're in the oldest gig you know. Men with blues in their brims keep time on the headphones inside your head, and they're helping you keep it straight on the red line on the south side today. You make your body unbreachable. You're black, trying to make it back to the north side, which promises a separate gauntlet. Your body is a constant negotiation against power's several microaggressions. You're a hard brim. You're a straight line. You made a promise to your woman. You might could love somebody. You might could get home tonight. I'm going to do one more piece, but it's a fairly long piece, and I know I'm going to go over my allotted time, but I really want to do this piece here, and I want to say for the umpteenth time that I really love this space. I'm very, very, very thankful and grateful because a lot of life-saving took place in Chicago for me over the last 3 years here, and YCA is no small part of that. So thank you again to you all, and this is my, I'm originally from Trinidad and Tobago, in the Southern Caribbean, and it's a long time honored tradition that the summer right after you graduate high school, you get really fucking buck wild. This long piece is kind of about that. It's called National Botanical Gardens, 1986. In the middle of the hurricane belt, hurricanes never seem to touch Trinidad. The meteorological maps are perplexed. They show storm after storm approaching the island and beating a path around it. Trinidadians don't even take precautions anymore. They prepare for things with the gather and the cook. In Trinidad, we call it liming. Anything becomes a good enough pretense for a lime. Hurricane coming, lime. Election results, lime. The Pope visiting, lime. The Queen, lime. Armed overthrow of the government, lime for days. It is the ethos of the Trinidadian. It is his magic. It is an imperative towards life in the same way Europeans know conquest. We are born in and reared by it. We believe in a God-ordained imperative, this mishmash of people from all over the world, all of us gathered here in this gateway between the Caribbean and South America, still not sure if we're here for good or if this is a way station, cannot be bothered by impending storm. We are a conglomeration of wandering tribes after all. Our entire world is a marketplace, our inventions of the show and beauty variety. We are supplicants to the make and give away. We invented a thunder from the insides of discarded oil drums. We learned to bend wire into visions we could mistake for gods. And with the rainy season almost upon us in August, with the thick hot haze of the Atlantic always in the air, we're preparing to be gorgeous. I'm preparing to be gorgeous on a Friday night because I'm 18 and I'm Trinidadian, and even if my job as a clerk at the chocolate factory says I have to come in that Saturday morning for inventory, there is no reason for me to not go to this party, to not line from all the way off of work on Friday, only a brief stop back home for a shower and some food before I meet the fellas and we joyride all over the Northeast before we go to this big DJ clash where everybody will be, and besides everybody, Gail in particular, whose teeth are jewels in the calmer Caribbean Sea to our west. whose smile is probably what calmed the winds that became gale force when they hit Grenada and St. Vincent and Jamaica, because no one as beautiful as she smiled at storms there. And there's no way I'm not meeting Gail there and holding her and swaying to some slow tunes in a dark corner right next to the big speaker box, my head a little bad with the rum and coke I'm going to have. So after work, I stop by Hereford's on the way home and I fire a quick one with Uncle Mikey, who is often there, but he's not yet drunk, so he doesn't need me to carry him home. Though he wants me to stay longer and have another, but I know it's going to be a long night and I intend to not be drunk when I see Gail. So I thump Uncle Mikey on the back, promise him I'll see him right there on the stool on Sunday night. And I drive home slowly and easily for once, thinking of Gail the whole time and about what I'm going to wear. I call the fellas because you don't show up at no fete without your partners, your boys. Dexter isn't coming out, Larry isn't coming out, Cyril isn't coming out. But Rudy is coming out and will meet me at my house, and Dave says he'll come out if I collect him. So I say yes, because there's no way you don't go get your boys if they need you to go get them. It's the way with your partners, your #1 crew of limers. At home, Mommy has made a pilau. She and my stepfather are liming too, but they're staying in tonight. They are already divorced, but maintain something between civility and passion. They are hurricane children too. This way is their prerogative. I lie on the couch and doze off because I'm a little tired and don't wake until Rudy's voice says, "Hey boy," from over the half door of the kitchen. This is before crime makes it, so we have to put metal bars on every doorway before we have to think about home invasions. I startle awake to Rudy's massive shock of curly hair and infectious, always giggling. This is before liver disease that no one can diagnose for him. He suggests we should start it up right now, and I tell him he knows where the rum is, and he goes to the cabinet and pours the VAT 19 on some ice, offers a good night to my mother and stepfather while I go to shower. I'm slower than usual in getting ready because I want to make sure to look smooth. I iron my best jeans, the Sergio Valentes. Great, skinny, brand new white Adidas with fat laces that my godmother sent from New York. My flyest plaid shirt, ironing it slowly to run DMC and Cool Modi on my boombox. And when I pick my hair out and smooth down the sides, I'm ready for the biggest DJ clash of the year. I'm ready for Amitabh versus Sin. I'm ready to hold Gail while Something Slow by DeBarge comes through the big box. Rudy and I jump into my mother's Datsun 120Y. I've had my boy next door, Sean, tune it up a little. Sean builds cars and modifies them until they fly, so I like the little touches he can put on it, how it leaps like a dolphin when I step on the gas. We take the back way up through Maraval, through the northern range in the night, go to Diego Martin to pick up Rudy's other partner. We hustle through the black narrow roads, me gearing down and accelerating through bends for the thrill as much as trying to make up time. We stop at a snack it along the way and pick up 3 carom, and I cradle the cold beer in my lap in between gear changes. We head back over the mountain after we pick up Rudy's boy. We head around the savannah, up over the Lady Young Road for the curves, for the hills and steep drops. We go in to get Dave, and when we pull up in front Dave's house on Page Main Road, he's already waiting out front his father's rum shop. He has a bottle of VAT 19 in his hand, and he is easy in his slow, lean forward gait as he walks. Dave is still the captain of the West Indies youth squad. We still expect him to become an opener for West Indies within the next 5 years. Everything is golden in our expectations because we are Trinidadians, and the only time I've ever seen a hurricane was in 1974, and I came outside in it because no one thought it was too dangerous for a 6-year-old to go out into the gallery to see the storm because we lime it. Coconuts are bullets through the air thrown from some massive invisible hand rifling the ball in from extra cover. Trees are javelins down Trinity Street, but miraculously no one's house is destroyed in our village. No one is killed. We lime in and we go in to the DJ clash. By the time we park and walking in, it's midnight. We take our time strolling in because we can't look too anxious. We can't look like we're fighting. We have to look like we belong, so it's just so we move, cool, cool. I'm looking out for Gail, but trying not to look like I'm looking out for Gail. But then Gail steps out of the murky dark of the party, and she's smiling that smile. She's wearing a matching burgundy floor-length skirt and halter top that sweeps up over her perfect collarbones and around her neck where it's tied, and her perfect belly is exposed down to where her skirt hangs onto her perfect hip bones, and she's smiling that smile, and I'm still playing it cool because my partners are meeting her for the first time, and I can feel Rudy freeze with awe, and Dave's laugh turn into a nervous giggle, and as I remember it, Gail is even more cool and confident than I am. She walks up and slides her arms around my neck, kisses me gently on my mouth, and I'm hoping that by the end of this night, Gail will be my girlfriend, but it's early and the DJs haven't even let loose yet. For people absolutely unafraid of hurricanes, it's amazing how much we always looking for rain. We can smell it coming, we don't want to be in it. We always want shelter from the rain, but it will not stop the line. But it will stop us from going to work. It will make us late for any appointment. Like brown people all over the world, we see an appointment time as an hour before which we should not arrive. Any appointment time is a sunrise. I'm thinking of this when I'm thinking how perfect this night is, even though I haven't heard from Curtis for the longest while, and I wonder about what time I should leave, since the air is thick and it doesn't look like rain, and I have a long day of counting barrels of peanuts and chocolate syrup and sacks of flour and candy bar wrappers beginning in about 6 hours. But I'm chilling with my fellas, and the lime is sweet, and there's a girl who is sweet and gorgeous and doesn't hold back when she's laughing, so I decide that rather than leave early, I'll compromise by not drinking anymore. So I go looking for Gail to get my hold and slow grind on in the dark next to the big speaker box. Lionel Richie is singing Hello, is it me you're looking for? Clearly it's time. And when I find her, she's craning her neck to see where I am and smiles that smile again, and we don't even have to talk. We just graft our bodies into each other's, and I haven't yet bought my ticket to leave for New York, and New York is a place on television besides. Gail's neck smells clean, like soap, like sunlight, like she washes in the river, which of course she does not, but that's how close my face is in her neck and how close it's grinding. Her fingertips are firm against my back and sometimes my neck, and I'm smelling something rich in her hair, and I'm not afraid of hurricanes, and I don't know enough to be afraid of snowstorms or tornadoes yet, and we danced through that song and the one right after it without stopping, like the beat was all the same, because the DJ is on his game and knows how to mix one song right into the next, so the couples in the dark don't have to stop, never have to stop being in love, because the DJs too know in their bellies something about a marketplace people who build the temples of love out of wire and song and rain and burgundy skirts they sewed themselves, and by the time Gail and I get through the next slow jam, we know something made of carnival and hot sun and storms is happening between us, and I lean my forehead against hers and promise to call her the next day, and I stroll through the crowd until I see Rudy and Dave and make a signal in the air like an umpire signaling a home run, which means we're making a turn from here, and they should wrap up if they still want to lift home. And Rudy's boy decides to stay on, and my partners decide to leave. It's a little past 3 when I step out the door, giving a fist bounce to some other fellas I see there, and we head home. We closest to Rudy. So over the mountains again, fast, the only way I know how to drive. The turns sharp, the roads are narrow, the drops off the road precipitous. But I'm not yet afraid of roller coasters, or heights, or failing, or being in particular neighborhoods at the wrong time, or giving myself entirely to a woman whom I love. I drop Rudy off and fist bounce, and Dave comes around to the front seat, and we head for El Socorro. And when Dave steps out the car and says laters at about 3:45, I know I'm a little more tired than I would like, and I have what is usually a half-hour drive home, but I know I could do it in 20 easy. The car is already 10 years old. It has no radio and no seat belts, but the engine makes the car into a leopard. And when I wind the windows down and begin singing out loud on my way home, I know I'll be fine. I begin with my choir's entire repertoire. I sing Joshua Fit the Battle of Jericho. Then I sing the African Sanctus. I sing Handel's Requiem. I'm making myself laugh by hitting Wake Up Johnny as I zoom past the Butler Highway and the 120Y is doing 90, and I start in on the catalog of Air Supply and the songs of Bonnie Tyler. I'm singing Black Stallion as I hit the lighthouse, and I know I'm almost home free, and I'm singing Bodyguard from the Steel Pulse catalog as I gun up French Street, and nothing has ever happened to me. I'm invincible, and my muscles still do everything I tell them to, so quickly I don't even have to tell them yet. I hit the savannah and I'm a genius. So I'm singing the J. Giles Band. I'm singing Michael Jackson. I take the corner by the college and I know I'm less than 5 minutes from home. I've done the dangerous thing and won again. I've beaten something, and tomorrow I'm going to ask Gail if we can go out for real to see a double feature at the cinema and maybe get some ice cream. And I'm pretty sure she's going to say yes, and soon she'll be my girlfriend, and I'm damn near home, so I stop singing. Later, I'll say the last thing I saw was the Emperor Valley Zoo, which abuts the Botanical Gardens. Every day I walked to and from school through those gardens. It was a good long walk, about 30 minutes, and I'd dilly-dally going through there and get to school late and be in trouble often. And I'd take walks with girls I liked through there and steal kisses leaned up against the big cedar trees. Our cross-country race went through those gardens and up the hill at Mount Belvedere. So many of us spent so much living in those gardens, walking, jogging past the old historical cemetery, learning the Latin names of the bougainvillea and the pui and the hibiscus. Later, a mechanic will say I was doing at least 80 when I hit the railings. But I know nothing of speed when I'm awakened by a hurricane of steel and glass. The car is in the air forever after it hits the curb, and my ears are full of a gorgeous thunder. In the eye of that chaos, I can hear bullets of steel parts rifling past as I bury my head in my hands and abandon myself. I thank God I'm alone, and for a moment I'm glad for the cocoon of the cockpit. The bottom of the car is grazing the Ixora shrubs and everything is quiet. And I wonder where Curtis is again. I'm glad he isn't with me because I don't yet know that he's been diagnosed with AIDS. I do not know he'll be dead in 6 months. Dave will be wheelchair bound in 2 years. All our dreams of his professional career gone. And I'm in wonder at the quiet still and realize only then that I'm flying. And the 120Y lands in a thick patch of grass, and in front of me a massive, beautiful cedar, but the car spins and spins and spins like a top and eventually spends itself and stops, and I'm not even scared, I discover. I sit for a few seconds, and a security guard from the nearby president's house runs over to see if I'm okay, and I tell him I'm good, and the door can't open, so I climb out the open window and piss on the tire and walk back towards the street where a car has stopped, and they offer me a lift, which isn't far at all by now. I'm 3 minutes from home, and they stop because we don't yet know what carjacking means in Trinidad. And I get home and wake my mother up, and of course she's hysterical, and I have to tell her a million times that I don't have the slightest scratch on me. And my stepdad puts his clothes on and makes a phone call, and they get the car moved off of the gardens before daybreak, because Trinidad still operates based on whom you know can do what when, and it still does. It's kind of like Chicago that way. And anyone on my block who sees the car with its broken front axle thinks I'm dead because no one answers our door because I've got up early and gone to work to inventory chocolates. When I come home, I call Rudy and Dave to tell them what happened. And Rudy comes to my house immediately, and together and in silence, we walk down to where the car left the road and jumped to the curb and became an airship. And we followed the flight and trajectory to where the car landed and made a crop circle of spins and stopped 2 feet in front of the tree that would surely have killed me. And Rudy whistled and scratched his head, and we could barely talk, except Rudy said, "You lucky as fuck, Raj," because we don't yet know how unlucky he is, that he'll be dead in less than 10 years. His liver failed and failed and failed to keep up with the prerogative to lime that we held as confirmation of our manhood, our Trinidadianness. And Gail never became my girlfriend because I never called her that day or the next. And by the time we spoke next, our moment was past, the way these things pass easily like that in the blazing speed of youth. My stepfather sent me for cigarettes in his car that afternoon. Otherwise, he said, "You'll never drive again." I trembled all the way to the store but came back safely, cruising slowly into our spot. I learned to drive fast again, and I loved Marcia harder than I thought I loved Gail that night, and we mourned Curtis together and made love again and again in the 6 months we had before I left home, where everything had changed. I knew something more was coming. I had to go out and make something happen for myself. I had to live at full throttle, even as I was more and more aware